In January 2024, in the depths of Russia's Uraltransmash machine-building plant, a mysterious project that has been in development for nearly 2 decades is reaching a critical juncture. Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu's visit to the facility, however, began with frustration as he reprimanded the chief engineer for the slow progress. With the conflict in Ukraine raging on and Russian artillery losses approaching a staggering 9,000 systems, the need for a game-changing weapon has never been more pressing. As the project enters its final stages, after more than 15 years of development, all eyes are on Russia, waiting to see when the nation will finally deploy the two S-35 Koalitsiya-SV self-propelled howitzer. Russia touts this cutting-edge self-propelled gun as the key to their military resurgence, promising unrivaled firepower and advanced features that surpass the dozens of already available Western weapons. However, not everyone is convinced of the weapon's supposedly inflated capabilities. Some wonder if this long-awaited artillery system will live up to its hype and turn the tide of the conflict, or if it will be another case of over-promising and under-delivering. The Msta-S self-propelled artillery system, introduced in 1989 as the Soviet Union crumbled, quickly became a cornerstone of Russian artillery. However, by the early 2000s, the system was showing its age as new millennium post-Cold War artillery technology advanced. To address this, Russian engineers envisioned a groundbreaking successor, an over-and-under twin-barreled self-propelled gun with automatic loaders. Named the 2 S-35 Koalitsiya-SV, meaning coalition in Russian, this unique solution featured a duo of 152mm howitzers, a significant departure from the Msta-S's single gun. The addition of separate autoloaders for each gun added weight and complexity, as well as a higher cost. However, the benefits were also substantial. Without a doubt, the biggest strength of the Koalitsiya-SV was its astonishing planned rate of fire, reportedly achieving an impressive 16 rounds a minute compared to the Msta-S's 6 to 8 rounds. With the improved first-hit capability provided by the double barrels, where one could be used as a spare should the other one malfunction, it becomes a powerful weapon system. Despite the project's secrecy, records indicate that at least 2 double-barreled prototypes were completed, with one featuring a distinctly faceted turret rear and a slightly different main gun arrangement. By 2003, a test bench was prepared for initial trials. However, around 2010, the Russian Ministry of Defense unexpectedly rejected the double-barreled configuration. The designs were revised, and developers reverted to a traditional single-barrel design, claiming that new technologies could achieve the same rate of fire with a single gun. With this change, a new single-gun prototype was finished in 2013. The first batch of 12 was produced and handed over to the military for evaluation in 2015, just in time for its first public appearance. In May 2015, during the annual Moscow Victory Day parade held in honor of the victory over Nazi Germany in World War II, the Russian army showcased the latest in warfare development. That day, dozens of armored vehicles, such as the T-14 Armata tank, Kurganets 25 tracked infantry fighting vehicle, and the Boomerang 8x8 armored personnel carrier paraded through the Red Square. However, the most striking of all was the finished model of the 2 S-35 Koalitsiya-SV, the newest and most cutting-edge Russian self-propelled howitzer, based on the T-90 tank platform. The self-propelled howitzer features a highly automated system with advanced capabilities, such as multiple rounds of simultaneous impact. It includes a remote control weapon system, an all-welded steel hull, and NBC protection for its 3-person crew, a significant reduction from its predecessor's 5. While the dual-gun design was unsuccessful and abandoned over a decade ago, preserving the original high rate of fire was of utmost importance, hence the retention of the name Coalition. This is reportedly achieved with the weapon system's pièce de résistance, a state-of-the-art 152mm 2A88 cannon, with a reported firing rate of up to 16 rounds a minute, surpassing older Russian systems and even some Western counterparts. The cannon's high rate of fire is enabled by its muzzle brake, recoil system. It can fire a wide variety of ammunition, including laser-guided projectiles. According to a 2017 statement made by the Russian Ministry of Defense, no weapon in NATO can shoot as fast as the 2 S-35. Despite the fanfare, some believe these claims to be exaggerated, especially as the model would not be introduced into service until much later. Following its presentation in 2015, Russian state media quickly announced that the 2 S-35 Koalitsiya-SV would soon enter service with the Russian armed forces, with initial reports suggesting deployment by the end of 2017 at the latest. However, the early prototypes faced numerous technical issues, and the first units were only delivered to Russian troops in May 2020. While prototypes of the tracked vehicle were mounted on a T-90 tank chassis, the Armata platform was preferred as production began. Additionally, a wheeled version mounted on a Kamaz 8x8 truck chassis was also under development to further enhance mobility. Russian military acceptance trials were scheduled for completion by 2022, but the process was significantly delayed by the full-scale invasion of Ukraine and the imposition of sanctions. As Russia continued to delay the production of the weapon, skepticism grew regarding the Tu-S-35's actual capabilities, with many believing it to be another case of over-optimistic announcements made by Moscow's weapons manufacturers. It wasn't until October 2023 that Russian military industry conglomerate Rostec finally announced that the Tu-S-35 Koalitsiya-SV had passed state tests, paving the way for its serial production at the Uraltransmash transport engineering plant. The announcement came after an entire decade of Russian propaganda that positioned the howitzer as a groundbreaking, one-of-a-kind weapon system. However, the specifications published in 2023 painted a strikingly different picture. Amidst the official specifications of the Tu-S-35 Koalitsiya-SV system mentioned by Rostec in the fall of 2023, one detail stood out. The rate of fire facilitated by the automatic loader was listed as only, quote, over 10 shots a minute. This revelation was a far cry from the groundbreaking 16 rounds a minute that had been touted as the weapon's main selling point for years. The significant discrepancy between the promised and actual performance suggests that the Russian defense industry struggled to deliver the Tu-S-35 Koalitsiya-SV's defining feature with only one barrel. This shortcoming likely explains the system's prolonged absence from active service. Instead of admitting defeat, they apparently lowered expectations to complete the long-overdue project. Nevertheless, the Russian media insists that the Tu-S-35 Koalitsiya-SV is far more advanced than many of its peers in terms of precision and time required to complete a mission. In December 2023, the Russian state news agency TASS announced that the Koalitsiya-SV had commenced its series production and was already being employed in the Special Military Operations Zone, a term used by Russian sources to reference the war in Ukraine, where its primary objective is to make a decisive impact in counter-battery warfare. In early 2024, a video report broadcasted on Russian television and shared across social media highlighted a significant development of the Tu-S-35 Koalitsiya-SV project. According to the document, Russia has launched large-scale production of the nation's latest generation of 152mm tracked self-propelled howitzers. This move likely comes in response to the substantial losses of artillery systems experienced by Russia in the ongoing Ukraine conflict, which have only increased over time. According to data provided by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and various news sources, by early 2024, these losses had reached notable numbers, with reports nearing 9,000 artillery systems lost by mid-January. Artillery is crucial in the Russian army's Ukraine strategy, enabling engagement of enemy positions and disruption of supply lines without direct combat, supporting infantry and armored units by weakening enemy defenses. Their effective use of artillery shapes the battlefield by limiting enemy movement and morale. To address these setbacks, according to such reports, the Russian defense industry is reportedly focusing on a rapid production program, with a special emphasis on replenishing, upgrading, and strengthening its artillery vehicle fleet. But not everything is going according to plan. 2 weeks after the initial announcement, on January 30th, 2024, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu visited the Uraltransmash machine-building plant, responsible for producing several armored vehicles for the Russian military, including the advanced Tu-S-35 Koalitsiya-SV. Once there, however, the minister outright reprimanded the chief engineer over what he suggested was the slow output rate. During the tour of the machine-building plant in the city of Yekaterinburg, Shoigu was heard saying, quote, "Stop goofing around, guys. We should have had these artillery machines working in full swing in 2023, but everything's so calm here." In response, Uraltransmash CEO Oleg Yemelyanov informed Defense Minister Shoigu that there was a six-fold increase in the production of self-propelled artillery systems from 2023. In return, Shoigu ordered a report outlining faster production within a week, and also mentioned plans for the military to sign a long-term contract with Uraltransmash if they achieve so. With only a predicted couple dozen Koalitsiya-SVs available to the Russian army at this point, it's still too early to tell whether or not the self-propelled weapon will make a significant impact in the short term. As it stands, as of summer 2024, Well over a decade after the first prototype, the actual power of the Tu-35 Koalitsiya-SV, rolling out slowly but surely to Ukraine, remains to be seen.